Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video about the Cardinals. I'm on FBS schedules. Thought I just might mention that because these guys are really cool, and they tell you like pretty much any college football team's schedule or NFL team's schedule. They are absolutely dope. Yeah, go to this website if you ever need to like look at a schedule or something, or even if you're interested in like checking out all the past seasons. They have them all. They have everything bookmarked. It's a really cool site. Just thought I'd mention that. But it is hard being a Cardinals fan right now. Let me tell you. Every game is like we start out and we are just looking great, looking fantastic, and then we just make it as close as possible and as scary as possible. And that's why the thumbnail, I was trying to find like a dam that was cracking, but I just couldn't find one. So I found some low bit picture, did the best I could with what I had. And because it only gets worse from here, These first three games here, obviously preseason, we know that. But the Cardinals take a Week 1 victory against the New Orleans Saints and then a Week 2 victory over the Carolina Panthers, both of which came down to potential game-losing drives that the other team could inflict upon us. Now, the Saints game was actually relatively back and forth. This game was lopsided. Third quarter, 9 minutes, 23 seconds left. We got up 27-3. Sorry for the Snapchat noise if you heard that. Don't know why the Snapchat feels the need to just pop random shit up. But then they scored a touchdown. I was expecting that. We didn't really do much with the offense afterwards. They went and scored a touchdown with 5 minutes left. And my, oh my. Then we let them go down the field and score yet another touchdown with 2 minutes left. And then we let them recover that onside kick, after which we already had let them convert a 4th and 16 ASU. The Cardinals were doing everything in their goddamn power to lose this game. We snuck one out today. 96 yards of penalties. A lot of the penalties in this game are questionable. Cardinals took a lot of injuries. My preseason prediction for this team is to go up until the Cowboys game. I have them winning all these games against the Saints, the Panthers, Niners, Seahawks, Titans, Colts, Packers, Cowboys. I have them winning all those until we get down to this stretch where I have them losing quite the hefty amount of games to go 12-5. I had a lot of faith in this team. We went 8-9 last year that was with a loss of a ricochet off of Trey McBride's helmet. You'd keep pretty much the entire same offense and almost the entire same defense, except in terms of like your original defense, the replacements you made were improvements. You completely improved defensively. And I was like, the Cardinals, it's only up from here in theory. And so far, the Cardinals have never been like one to start off super hot. And in fact, this is kind of resemblant of the 2021 season. Based off of the second game of the year, we barely managed. Here, I can actually show you guys. Oh, look at that. FBS schedules coming in clutch. So this doesn't show you the preseason, but see, we started off with a really good win against the Tennessee Titans, who ended up being a playoff team and ended up making a big march through the playoffs there, or like a couple steps in. And then we barely beat the Vikings in a game that we probably should have lost against the Vikings. Came down to the damn wire. But then the Cardinals kind of just turned up, entered that Kyler Murray phase where we were just dominant, and it was not the strongest schedule ever. You had the Rams, who ended up winning the Super Bowl that year, but the Cardinals always seemed to pick up one against the Rams, always. I mean, the Jaguars, let's see what the Jaguars even were. They were 3-14. They were not good. That was a game we should be winning. Still only winning by 12 points. Let's see, what were the Vikings even? Yeah, they missed the playoffs as well. You see, so Tennessee playoff team, Rams Super Bowl winner. 49ers made a deep run in the Super Bowl, but that was kind of fairy tale. They finished off 12-8. Browns, I think they missed the playoffs. Texans, one of the worst teams. Schedule was very, very easy in this first half, and Kyler Murray was looking like one of the greatest quarterbacks. Then we got to this game where the Packers finished off 13-3 this season, and obviously the infamous A.J. Green can't turn around and look for the ball interception to lose the game. Then we picked up one against the Niners again, but from that point on, it was just downhill. We took a horrible loss to a 5-12 Panthers team in Arizona. Picked up a good win against the Seahawks. Then we got a bounce back against the Bears, but this was when the Bears were still, they still are, but also still bad. And then we lose to the Rams, lose to the Lions, lose to the Colts, pick up a win against the Cowboys barely, and then take an L at the end of the season to the Seahawks before we lose in the playoffs to the Super Bowl winners. This is kind of what my prediction for this season was. I felt like there was a lot of potential building in Arizona, and we have an easier first half. We have the Saints, the Panthers, the Niners. The Niners are barely squeaking wins out right now, but they also only have Mac Jones and Jawan Jennings. There's no sign of return for and Christian McCaffrey, of course. Those are the only three. Mac Jones isn't even a piece of that. It's just Jawan Jennings and Christian McCaffrey. The team could very well lose this game against the Cardinals if they don't get any returning production. It's just depending on how the Niners defense plays, because they seem to have a pretty damn good defense right now. But then, after that, you got the Seahawks. Seahawks actually kind of impressed me with their win against the Steelers, but that kickoff thing was kind of just a freebie, kind of blew the game open. Horrible touchdown to allow. And then, that's just a horrible touchdown to allow. And then you got the Titans. So you have 1, 2, 3 games right here that are against bottom of the barrel teams, bottom of the barrel. And then you got the Niners and the Seahawks, who are kind of middle end teams. The Cardinals could very well pick up all of these as wins. And let's not gloss over the performance the good that came out of the Cardinals and the Saints and the Panthers games. They were dominating for a while. They got big leads in these games, and it looked like they were just going to take the game away. They let it slip away. They started to make mistakes and whatnot, but there's still plenty of good to be had. And if you can patch up on those mistakes, which you've had 2 games to do now, you should be able to patch up mistakes like that against the San Francisco 49ers. The other thing is even though the defense was letting a lot of stupid conversions by the Panthers, the defense got a defensive touchdown and an interception, which set up a field goal. So realistically, 10 of the 27 points were granted by the defense. The offense was what didn't look too good today. But after all, the Panthers are bound for some improvement. I personally don't think they're actually going to be one of the worst teams in the league. They're considered to be one of the worst teams in the league. Starting off 0-2 especially doesn't, change the narrative there. But I do think they will be a better team. Then I think they'll be like 7-10 or 8-9, better than they were last year for sure. But then after the Titans, the Colts look like ridiculous right now. They managed to somehow pick up that win against the Broncos after that horrible penalty that pushed them 15 yards forward. They pick up a huge win there. Then you've got the Packers, which it honestly is like, who is beating the Packers right now? And then at the Cowboys, winnable game. So this stretch right here, Colts, Packers, that's a big time scary stretch right there. If the Cardinals can manage to pick up one of those games, to me, they are a playoff contender. They could make a run in the playoffs. They're definitely a good football team if they can pick up a win there. Mainly because it's at the Colts, and then obviously the Packers are the Packers right now. They look really freaking good. Then you get a bye week on the road to Cowboys. Then at Seahawks, host San Francisco, host Jacksonville, which Jacksonville, I can't quite put my finger on them yet. They beat Panthers week 1, look pretty dominant while doing it, but then they kind of really struggle with a Bengals team that didn't even have their starting quarterback for like most of the game. At Tampa Bay, that's a really hard one. Then you get your first matchup against the Rams, which the Rams offense right now looks scary. Then you're on the road against Houston. The Cardinals have been seemingly good against Houston in the past. but they've got a good defense. That's a scary one. Host the Falcons. The Falcons are currently playing right now. And they're beating the Vikings 22-6 before the extra point attempt. I'd assume no. Not before. All right, 22-6. That is the score of that game. Falcons are kind of putting belt to ass right now, so that one might be scary. At Cincinnati, Jamar Chase has previously put up absolute numbers against the Cardinals and then finish it off with the Rams. So seriously, it is all important right now that the first half of our schedule is as easy as it is. And you pick up 2 wins. Not impressive wins, but you pick up 2 wins. And hey, after all, this is professional sports. You know, sometimes the 3-14 Browns might be the worst team in the league, but they had to beat 3 of somebody. And sometimes that's the damn number 1 team in the league, the Baltimore Ravens. Like, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But it is so deathly important that the Cardinals pick up a win against the 49ers and honestly pick up a win against the Seahawks. If the Cardinals start off 4-0 going into the Titans game 4-0, that's probably going to be a win there. You go 5-0 and you have 2 conference wins where the Seahawks then drop down to 0-2 in the conference. San Francisco drops to 1-1. You know, there can be some serious conversating about the Cardinals from that point. Then let's just say 2 losses here, 5-2, pick up a win against Cowboys, 6-2. On the road against the Seahawks, we'll give them an L there, 6-3. Host 49ers, win, 7-3. Against Jacksonville, I'll give them the win, 8-3 at Tampa, 8-4. Rams, 8-5, 8-6, 9-6. 9-7, 9-8. That is that is what the projection for the season looks right now. You know, I feel like that's a pretty reasonable look at how things can go. Is they win these first 5 games, but then they kind of fizzle out, go 9-8. That would be the obvious projection. But if they can pick up a win, like a big win, if they could pick up a win against the Colts or the Packers, or one of the 2 against the Rams, or at Tampa Bay, or at Houston, at Cincinnati. You know, if they can pick up a win on one of those games while maintaining the rest of your given wins, you've got a playoff team, and Kyler Murray needs it for everything he's ever done here at Arizona. Kyler Murray needs it. Because if you miss the playoffs with this team, it might just be Jover. It might be new quarterback time. I don't really know what else there is to it besides new quarterback time. I don't dislike Kyler Murray at all. I've had my questions in the past. I was a Kyler Murray hater for a little bit, but I realized, you know, people are giving him way too hard of a time, and it typically ain't his fault. But now it's like with this team, all eyes are on you, Kyler Murray. People who support you, people who don't support you. Everybody is watching. You need to bring your team to the playoffs and get them a win with this team, especially with the way the Seahawks look, you know, starting off with a week 1 loss against the Niners. Seahawks might not be that good of a team. A lot of people are projecting they're going to be pretty bad. 49ers are injured beyond repair. The Rams look like the obvious favorite for the conference right now. You got to make a punch for the playoffs. It's just a wild card spot, you know. Last year we were in that spot, controlling the conference, projected to get a 4 seed before we'd ripped off 3 straight losses, 2 of which were to the Seahawks, who were not that good of a football team. This is it for Kyler Murray. And these first 2 performances, I cannot lie, were not the prettiest performances. Now, his interception in this game against the Panthers, he was really trying his darndest to get out of there and throw the ball away. And unfortunately for them, the ball just got tipped up and picked off. And from that point on, the offense was kind of just minimalized. Like, actually minimalized. They didn't score a point from that interception on. But other than that, I mean, Kyler Murray was 17 for 25, a touchdown. He had some good runs, especially the one scramble run, obviously. Only took 1 technical sack. So offensively, I mean, the Cardinals were sound. The run game in an area where we're supposed to be so good is kind of being limited by these teams, but that's probably just because we're doing good in the air. But there was really no reason the offense needed to shut down and then the defense as well and just start letting up all these points, and that is scary to see. Obviously these are professional teams, so like they're not just going to go out easily. You have to keep your guard up, and they will make plays whether you're playing at your best or not. They will make plays and make things happen, but it's still scary that it's happened twice now. Is there like a missing clutch factor in this football team that could potentially lose us a bunch of games? Last year, we were the clutch factor, and we won a lot of close games. This year, who knows? But my God, this Carolina Panthers game had me freaking out at my TV when I saw that onside kick and how poorly we approached it, how poorly we approached the kickoff and just let it, we just let it like bounce off of a player and nobody pounced on it. It just felt like nobody was even trying to get the ball. It was terrible. And I was like, oh my God, we are going to lose this football game. And now I look back and laugh. But holy cow, bro, I really thought we were going to lose that game. Same thing with the Saints game. Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson had that ball in his hands, man, and it just got popped loose. They could have tied that thing and taken it to overtime, a game in which we were getting ready to go up 23-10 in. We're almost going into overtime, and we're barely sneaking out a win off of another defensive stand. And today we had to rely on 100-year-old Calais Campbell to get the sack on Bryce Young. And, I mean, I don't know. Bryce Young looked way better today. I think his usage of T-Mac was way better, and I kind of expected T-Mac to be a super good player in the NFL. He just has the receiver build, and he's a great route runner and whatnot. But, man, I'm just so worried about the Cardinals because of how I thought today was going to be a domination. And for a while it was, but then we started to let it slip away. This was the same Panthers team that was literally limited at like no points all game against the freaking Jaguars. And I don't really think the Jaguars are that good of a football team. What's even worse is we play them later. It's like, I don't know, man. But hopefully the Cardinals, a win is a win at the end of the day. So as long as we don't lose this game. If we lost this game, I don't think I'd make another NFL video for the rest of the year. I don't even think I'd turn on a game. But it is very important that we pick up a win, especially against the Panthers, because previously throughout history, the Panthers always beat the Cardinals. Like, we just cannot beat them for some reason. They're always ruining our hopes. So it's important that we pick up a win here against the Panthers. Huge. But the Cardinals have to continue through. But keep an eye out for them. They're a weird football team right now. But anyways, that is all for this video. Like, subscribe, and help, and comment. Always helps. That's all for me. Adios.